Morning. I call to order the October 2nd, 2018 meeting of the Saline County Board of Commissioners. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Shadwick.
Here.
Commissioner Sparks.
Here.
Commissioner Vidrickson.
Here.
Commissioner Weiss.
Here.
Commissioner White.
Here. I ask that you please stand, join me in a flag salute, followed by a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We now move to the public forum where citizens may speak on county government, usually limited to 3 minutes. Items that are not on today's agenda. Does anyone wish to speak? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the Commission for regular business. Item number 1.
Approve agenda for public forum as presented.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the agenda for the public forum as presented.
Second motion.
Been moved and seconded that we approve today's public forum. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 2.
RFA 188-18, Rural Fire District Number 3, Kansas Forestry Grant with Hannah Stambaugh, Emergency Management Director.
Good morning, Hannah.
Good morning, Commissioners. I am here on behalf of Chief Scott Apker. This is a request for action for them to accept the Kansas Forestry Grant Program for the purchase of a wireless headset to be used in one of their squad trucks at Glendale. Their grant application was submitted in April of 2018, and the department was notified of their award towards the end of July. This is a 50-50 matching grant. The total award is for $3,147, and Saline County would be responsible for $1,573 of the total award amount. They did solicit quotes or bids from 4 different vendors for what they call a Firecom 210 wireless headset system. The low bid came in from Weiss Fire in the amount of $2,734.56. The department has purchased this same piece of equipment in the past using these forestry grant funds. These will allow for any of them to communicate via the mobile radio by pressing a microphone button on that particular headset. So their recommendation is for the request to for them to move forward with the purchase of this headset. This will work with all the previous wireless headset systems that they have purchased, as well as anything in the future when it comes to any type of radio system upgrade. So it is very interoperable. Again, I said that the total purchase price is $2,734.56. It will be paid for by their communications equipment line, and 50% of that cost will be reimbursed back to the fire district as part of that forestry grant. So subject to any of the questions that you have, that is the information that has been provided.
Your opening comment
Yes.
regarding the 50-50 match, I want to make it clear that that comes from the budget of Rural Fire District Number 3.
That is correct, sir.
Okay. Questions or comments from the Commission?
You made mention that it would be compatible with any future, even if an 800 system comes online, would it still be compatible?
Yes, it is correct.
Well, I'll stay with my standard line is that I don't like to turn down some of this money, so that's where I stand on it. So I'll bring it back to the Commission for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move we purchase a Firecom 2010 wireless headset system from WFE in the amount of $2,734.56 with the 50% reimbursement by the forestry grant as requested by staff.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve RFA 188-18 for Rural Fire District Number 3 in the Kansas Forestry Grant. Is there any further comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you,
Hannah. We'll move on to item number 3.
RFA 189-18, Greater Salina Community Foundation Grant with Rosie Walter, Senior Services Director.
Good morning, Rosie.
Good morning, Commissioners. Senior Services applied for a grant for an AED device and a cabinet to install it up on the wall. Currently, we've been borrowing one from the Health Department, so with this grant, we would give them back their unit and buy a AED device. The award was $2,315, so I'm asking permission today to accept those dollars from the Greater Salina Community Foundation.
Is there, is that the, will this grant totally cover the cost of the defibrillator?
Well, I got a bid, right, or quote, just so I could see how much it was. So yes, I'll get 3 more bids and
Okay, great.
make a purchase then.
Any further comments from the commission, staff? All right, with that, I'll bring it back to the commission then for possible action.
What floor is this going to, where are you going to put this?
I'm going to put it on the first floor, and I will say that I am going to do another grant. You know, their comments back, because I applied for 2 units, they only supplied 1, and their comments were that they thought that the county could provide another one. But, you know, in talking to her, I think maybe if I could have talked to her first, I might have got them both. But I'll apply for future funding to replace the other one.
Also,
I'll keep the health department.
training. Do we have people that are trained to use this?
When we got the health department, one of the things that Jason wanted us to do is to be certified. So we're all certified, except for our new staff member with AED and CPR.
All right.
Mr. Chairman, I move we accept grant funding for GSCF in the amount of $2,315 for 1 automated external defibrillator and cabinet.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve RFA 189-18 for the Greater Salina Community Foundation grant for a defibrillator. Further comments? Not. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 4.
Senior Services update with Rosie Walter, Senior Services Director.
All right. Good morning again, Rosie.
Good morning. Our advisory council, we met on September 28th, and our discussion always includes the stats, the fiscal updates, staff changes, and any pending grants that we might have going. One of the things we discuss in more detail is the meals that come in, who dines in, who for Meals on Wheels. But in working with the subcommittee, they wanted me to break it out a little bit more because they want to see what is subsidized versus full pay. So on this front page, you're going to see that I have the Commission on Aging, a full year of how they recorded it. But breaking that down a little bit further, on mine, I have the dining room full pay, dining room subsidized, the same with Meals on Wheels, and then the adult day sunflower. And you can see just in the month of August that if you add the $120 for the dining room full pay, and then the dining room subsidized, we were $130. So our numbers are pretty high, I think. Although I'll tell you, September was a little bit lower than I hoped for. But I will continue on this, and then I'll have a full year. Any questions on that?
Not in that regard. I
Okay.
don't have any.
Right now, I'm working on a community development block grant, and the board just recently approved that on the 28th. I'm going to be in front of you on the 9th and seek approval to submit the application for the community development block grant under the Department of Commerce for community facilities. So, next week. And then the AED device, we did receive that funding, and you just gave me approval to accept it. The North Central Flint Hills has finally submitted an application or the contract. Mike Montoya County Council currently has it, and then Karen from the Area Agency on Aging is coming to the office, and we're going to discuss any final issues, and I'm hoping that I'll have that in front of you too here pretty quick. And then the Aladdin contract, Mike has made a comment. I'm working with Aladdin right now to revise that contract, and I'll have that in front of you too here pretty quick.
Clarify Aladdin for us.
Aladdin is the contract services for food that we have, that does the Meals on Wheels and all the food that goes out. Okay, miscellaneous. We hired Bradley Lambert from a temp service. He replaces Brandon Coyle. And then Sunflower Fair. I attended the Sunflower Fair this year, first time. It was a huge event where I was able to meet a lot of different people, and a lot of our patrons were there as well. But we had submitted a honoree to be recognized for her volunteer, and she did get it, Mary Waymeyer. So she was recognized at that Sunflower Fair, and we had a special table, and she got a free lunch and a badge and a standing ovation. And then lastly, I would just like to say thank you to Commissioner Sparks, White, and Weiss for coming and helping me with the Fried Chicken Day. I received so many wonderful comments about their efforts, about sitting and visiting with them and, you know, just helping out. But yeah, they ran. They were busy.
All right. I haven't heard anything lately regarding the facility, the buildings, the so forth, roof, whatever, anything?
Well, you know, on that CDBG, I did have a leak in the roof, but it's along the seam. So when we went up there, we were able to detect where we thought the little leak was. So I did have a company come in. I got 3 bids and had a company come in and give me a patch over that. Now it hasn't rained, so I don't know if it worked or not. But with that CDBG grant, there's 3 different things that I'm going to ask for. One is to replace the roof, to remodel the bathrooms downstairs. If you've been in the bathrooms downstairs, you can see that, you know, there's just curtains or open stalls. So I'd love to have those be just a wonderful environment that you can go in. And then raising all of the commodes within the senior center up to be a little bit higher to accommodate the needs of our patrons. So, and then, you know, the plumbing that goes with that. So the plumbing, the roof, and the remodel of those bathrooms. So when I come before you next week, I will go in detail about all of that. As far as the air conditioners and stuff, yeah, I mean, I have to call periodically, have somebody come in. I did check around and get all the prices for the different, like, air conditioning so I could get the lowest price. But, yeah, they do have to come in periodically and fill it with Freon. Get it going again.
Okay. Any other questions or comments from the commission? If not, we thank you for your efforts, and thanks for the report.
Thank you.
We'll move on to item number 5.
Road and Bridge update with Darren Fischel, Road and Bridge Administrator.
Morning, Darren.
Good morning, Commissioners. I need to apologize. I did have a slideshow presentation, but it seems IT got busy somewhere else or had an emergency. Won't be having those for you today. I will go through the report and answer any questions you might have. We did complete the shop and office remodel. That work is finally complete. The contract amount was $869,000, and I believe with the final payment, it was somewhere over just a little bit over $889,000. So it's $20,000 over, which is a little over 2%, which we thought was pretty fair for tying into an existing building. It came in, you know, pretty close to budget, which was pretty amazing. So that took our facility from 3,500 square feet to about 5,500 square feet. I sure would like to thank everyone involved in it. Least of all, Rita Deister, the county administrator. You know, without Rita's dogged determination over the last 15 years and putting the financing in place, working through multiple commissioners, I think it was just a project that she really was determined to see happen. Appreciate the commissioners and employee and everybody working on that. And we had a week of rain, and you know, we looked at the building was all done, and we looked at the forecast, and we waited to move till it rained. So we had a little bit of deal there. We did start the selection process for a county engineer. Hopefully we can get that resolved by the end of the month. And we assisted in tear down the setup of the voting booths for the August primary elections. Our rural operators have been trimming trees, doing some line-of-sight things. The laybacks in the territories are about coming to an end because it's time to start planting. Once they start planting, we cease those. And I did ask them to start correcting some driveway entrances with some AB3 and make them match the roadway. So they're kind of working on those as time allows. And we're mowing in all the territories. We will probably mow through Thanksgiving to get the trees mowed back and the grass. We do trash pickups countywide. We also are starting what we call our Durapatch activities, and that's every winter, every year before winter, we go out and fill potholes with our Durapatch machine so they don't turn into a bigger issue during the winter and in the spring. We did have some high winds we had to go out and clean some trees up from. And then I got a call from a gentleman who had dug a pond up by Eagles Knob, and that was our harvest, what I call our harvest activity. We went up and moved that dirt so we could use it for some edge wedge on Brookville Road. Just kind of got us out of the way of the farmers for a week or so. The culvert work, we replaced a culvert on Hedberg Road south of Fallen, one on Pleasant Hill east of Halstead Road, Link Road north of Farley, Crawford Street east of Cunningham, Hedberg Road east of Amos, Hedberg Road west of Solomon Road, and Holmes Road south of K4. A lot of this culvert work that we have been doing is in conjunction with engineering. Every year they go out and they look at box culvert structures and their soundness, and then they run a drainage study. And if the box culvert is in need of replacement, they run a drainage study. Well, if it can be a culvert, we replace that concrete box or wooden box with a culvert. So each culvert is around, concrete culvert's around $40,000 or $50,000, and we put in a corrugated metal pipe for about $10,000. So that's a pretty good savings in going out and running these drainage areas on these structures. The box work is mainly focused to that engineering inspection, and on this set they went out and looked at some boxes and found some undermining of the back walls and scour, and we went in and put a concrete floor in these to save the structure from collapse at a future date, and to keep if you just go put dirt back in there, it washes out again. So we did one on Burma Road south of Thorstenberg, and Hobbs Creek Road east of Donmeyer, and Donmeyer Road south of Farley, Ottawa Road east of Simpson, and then Link Road north of Waterwell. We have been hauling a lot of aggregate. We hauled 5,783 ton of what we call plant waste. That was the material that we had purchased in the last quarter. 15,639 ton of crushed rock, 2,336 ton of AB3, and 1,875 ton of sand. Our traffic control, most of their activities are focused during harvest to replacing signs that get knocked over because of the wide equipment, things like that. They are currently starting the striping. They're a little late getting started on the striping. We are working on getting that center line where they did the chip seal first. So there's people have that at night, that obvious center line. The problem we had with not getting started was paint. There's a shortage of yellow pigment. Yellow pigment comes from China. So we do have all our paint now, so we are getting started on those activities.
All right. Questions or comments from the commission to Mr. Fischel? Hearing none, thank you for your report. We appreciate it very much. All right. That concludes today's agenda. Is there any other business? Under announcements, I will say that I did make a presentation on behalf of the County Commission to the Chamber of Commerce last Thursday morning at Kansas Wesleyan University. An offer has been extended from the Military Affairs Council to all of the commissioners to attend the Military Affairs dinner. I believe that's October 13th to be held at the VFW. I plan on going. I hope some others can make it also. Also want to announce that October 16th there will be no commission meeting. The administrative staff, along with 3 commissioners, will be at the KAC, that's the Kansas Association of Counties, meeting in Kansas City, so there will be no meeting that week. I've also been asked to announce that the 1 mile 15th annual Buddy Walk, hosted by the North Central Kansas Down Syndrome Society, will take place on Sunday, October 7th, that's this coming Sunday, at the Clyde City Park in Clyde, Kansas. On-site registration festivities begin at 1 p.m. Walk announcements will begin at approximately 3 p.m. So if there's anyone here that wishes to participate in that, it'd be nice if you went to Clyde, Kansas and participated in their Buddy Walk. So, any other announcements from commissioners? If not, I'll take a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Been moved and seconded that we adjourn. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned. We will have